I'm going to hit you with the truth most people will never tell you. Your outside world, your relationships, money, your health, and even your patterns of wins and failures are just a mirror. And what they're reflecting is our subconscious programming. If your life keeps looping like Groundhog Day, it's not bad luck. It's your brain repeating old scripts that you didn't even choose. But guess what? You can rewrite them, and that's what I'm going to teach you in this video today. Hey y'all! Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Thank you for tapping in again with me, Doctress Mo. Okay, I had to make sure that the sound was on while I'm up here trying to get cute with the intro, okay? But hey y'all, welcome back and thank you for tapping in with me, Dr. Mo. Here we are all about tapping into our subconscious, understanding why we do the shit that we do, why the things that happen around us happen. So today's conversation, babe, we get into those repeating cycles and realizing that our life is a repeating cycle of our subconscious beliefs, our subconscious memories. And this video topic actually came up for like a variety of reasons. I haven't been on here in like 4 months, I believe it is now. If you don't want to hear all this, I'll put timestamps for you to go to the part where I start getting into the conversation. But just kind of give you an update of where I've been. So, baby, I had a life cycle I had to close. I had a life cycle that I had to see, I had to understand, and I had to finally break it. I had to finally end it to be able to see outside of that. So during that time, I was not given the energetic permission to, record because I had to go through it for myself and that experience. And so as soon as it happened and I noticed it, I noticed the glitch in the subconscious. I said, oh, we're stopping it here. It ends here. Then everything else just started clicking together. Okay. And so, but the past 4 months, I had another birthday. Okay. I released another book. I had another best-selling book, The Sacred Flow, which goes into learning how to tap into becoming a co-creator with the universe and the world around us and living in our sacred flow. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm not even gonna get too deep into that, but I wanted to just share that was a lot of the personal stuff that happened. And so from there, I had some memories on my camera because I haven't been using my camera or picking up my camera and recording since I haven't been on here in, 4 months. And a lot of it had to do with, just me and editing and all that. And, just realizing, okay, I just need to get support or help some kind of way. Like we can get this figured out. Right. And so, as I was going through my camera memory card, I noticed last year I was doing vlogs and I was supposed to be trying to get back into vlogs and I started this channel and I was like, oh my gosh, a whole year. And the cycle of what I was going through at that time, I was in a similar cycle, but that was the cycle that I had just closed. Okay. So it was like, a replay to show me like, okay, this groundhog, like it's not like a repeat of Groundhog Day. You get what I'm saying? So it helped me notice this cycle that I had within my subconscious of how I react to things. And we may not realize that most times that our life replays on a cycle. So we may find ourselves, going for and dating the same type of people or wanting the same type of people or chasing the same types of situations, or we constantly follow the same flow of actions as a reaction to certain things because it's what we've been programmed to do over time. And a lot of that programming has started when we were just a young, little tit tot, Okay, what's a tit tot? What's a tit tot? When we were, very young, we learned this programming, the development of our root chakra, our root energy, who we are at our foundation. And in that, of knowing that how we are reacting with life and living life is a reflection of all of those things that we learned and we were around before a time that we even remember. We don't even remember. Most people, 95% of people don't remember their life before the age of 5, before starting like preschool, kindergarten. And even in there, some of the memories are, a little here and there. They are a little spotty. So let's get into the conversation. Everything that is happening in our reality is not random. It is very much so created. It is an output of a flow of actions, a flow of a system. So many of you all know I was an algebra teacher before I retired from teaching.
before starting my own school. And oh, speaking of that, you all, I have a subconscious personality quiz down below. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, so before I left, retired from teaching in the school systems, I was an algebra teacher, so I'm very big on equations and the flow of equations. There's typically always the flow of how to solve a problem. For example, we have PEMDAS. And with PEMDAS, when it changed from being, multiplication before division, it started being, well, it could be either or, whichever one comes first. So the rules changed, the process changed in a way, right? Of what a lot of us remember from when we were younger. Now, when we look at our life, that is the same thing of how our life oftentimes is formulated through our subconscious development. You have to realize, you ever seen a little baby and they start picking up your actions and things that you do, and it's just because subconsciously they picked up that that's what you do, and they look up to you, so they're going to pick up on your mannerisms and your behaviors and things of that nature subconsciously, or they may subconsciously reject those behaviors. Okay, so it just all depends on all the other determining factors, them being inside of the womb, the development in the womb, and all of that jazz, right? Brain development. But our reality is oftentimes it's like a recycle replay. Like it's always a movie replaying over and over and over, and we get out of a cycle and then we get into another, and then we find out like, dang, this is going the same way as the last one, right? And that's oftentimes something there to show you that you're in a subconscious loop. You're in a subconscious loop where your subconscious is literally stuck on an autopilot, and it's continuously doing what it knows. So it's continuously going to the same places. It's continuously attracting the same energies. It's continuously following the same processes to fix something or to approach something, to deal with something. We all have this. We all have a default setting inside of ourselves. So similar to our phones and things of that nature, right? Our phones come with default settings. And then over time, we add new settings onto our phone, new features. And then eventually those old features, they start going bad. And what happens when they start, messing up? They start glitching. They start needing an update. And so that same thing happens within our life. And so we can find ourselves, we're operating on an outdated subconscious belief or mindset. So we're approaching relationships the same way, we're approaching love the same way, we're approaching our job the same way, we're approaching our dreams the same way, we're approaching everything the same way of what we've always done. Or we may dress it up in a different outfit, but it's still the same wolf. Okay. And so in that, we start to glitch. So the reality begins to glitch even more. It starts to feel like things are falling apart even more. It starts to feel like you are totally out of order because something is glitching. It's out of order. It's not flowing and operating the way it needs to. It needs an update. And so if you were attracted here to this video at this time and you've made it to this point, you're at a place where your subconscious is going through an update. You are going through the process of updating a cycle. You're ready to break a cycle. You may have recently noticed a cycle in your life, a cycle of something that you always did, or a way of how you always responded to things, a way of how you used to try to push things, right? So for example, let's get into one of my cycles that I recently had to break, was cycle of love, connections. And I'm like a serial monogamist, and I get attached, like, because I'm only talking to one person at a time. So I may leave, or like I'll go back to an ex or something, right? And realizing that was a part of a cycle with me of, I would stick it out or try to work things out or understand it or be patient and be like, okay, maybe it's another way of looking at this, until I had to come to a situation where they were very honest to the point in like certain aspect. And I was sitting here like, wait, deja vu, why am I here? What am I doing with my life? I need to change this whole cycle. Like, I need to change this entire cycle. This is not aligned with my higher self. This is aligned with the older version of me. That was the glitch in the energy of what was, going on or whatever. And so once we notice this cycle of our subconscious, of I subconsciously handle conflict this way, I subconsciously chase the things that don't want me. And it makes me think of on my new Instagram page. So definitely make sure you all check out my new Instagram, Butterfly Mind Alchemy, butterfly.mind.alchemy. But I post different perspectives, and we go into the inner child. Okay, them geese running, baby. We go into the inner child meaning and understanding. We go into the subconscious need and understanding. Then we go into an action that you can take to work on it. And so, one of the most recent ones that I've been really getting into is tapping into. We need to truly look at the action of what it is that we may have been rejecting or running from, right? Or why is it that we feel that? So, for example, one of the most recent ones that, well, by the time this video comes out, that one should be posted already. This video should come out the day after I'm recording it. But, so oftentimes we're taught and told that our purpose is outside of ourselves, that we have to find our purpose, that we have to seek our purpose, that we're going to find it in our jobs, we're going to find it in our, you know what I'm saying, careers, our lovers and our children and our family. We got to find this thing, when that's a subconscious belief that was drilled within us. But it's truly us. Our purpose is us. It's our, baby, these geese are out, okay? It's our life experiences. It's our personal knowledge. It's the knowledge we came here to earth with. It's our intuitiveness that we have. It's our inquisitiveness that we have. It's our mechanical mind. We already came here with those things. We already came knowing what we wanted to, you know what I'm saying, experience. And our purpose is in the experience. It's not something that's outside of ourselves. So we've always been taught that certain things are outside of ourselves to seek it. That then can be attributed to other areas in our life, and we find ourselves seeking those things outside of ourselves for the answers. Now, none of us are prone to never going through something like this. Like, you all know, one thing I love about myself and a lot of things that my clients love about me is that I am very vulnerable and honest about my process, and about the fact that I go through these things, or I have these repeat lessons where I have to get snapped back to reality. And it's just like, wait, hold on. I notice what this is. I see what this is. So I'm going to change the trajectory of this process of what's going on, so that I can make sure that I'm maintaining my highest self and my highest vibration and my highest cycle and frequency. Because the thing is that once we step out of those cycles that we've come accustomed to and that we know, and we step into doing something different, it wants to pull us back. They like, come back, baby. Come back. Come back. Come back. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to get you to, they want you to come back into the fold to, you know, continue this cycle that you feel so comfortable with. Because once you're changing your subconscious beliefs, once you're changing your actions, once you change all of that, all the old stuff has no purpose anymore. It has no purpose. It has no use. So it makes me think about on Toy Story, for example, and when Andy started getting older and things of that nature, and you know, was getting ready to throw out the toys. It's just like certain toys and stuff. It's like there's no use for this toy anymore, and that's how our subconscious can sometimes trigger or be triggered, because the ego wants to feel safe and comforted. That's how we play out the subconscious, right? And so as we're changing the understandings that our super ego goes under, and we're changing our memories and things of that nature that we allow to be stored and worked through within our prefrontal cortex, and then it changes our processes of reaction within our amygdala. And so these pieces allows us to change the entire process of how we do things. And sometimes we have to get a problem wrong to remind us or to show us that we are not following the proper steps, the proper instructions to get there. So this is a big reason why I created the subconscious healing archetype quiz. And what this quiz is, I was intuitively put together 11 different archetypes, and these are the different archetypes that touch into different parts of our subconscious and who we are and how we approach healing, how we approach life and our connections and things of that nature. And if you want to understand what is your core subconscious movement right now, what are you being moved the most by, this quiz is going. Everyone who has taken it that has given me their feedback back through comments and, you know, responses and things of that nature have said that it was spot on, and they're just like, oh my gosh, how did you understand this? And so what I also created was is that after at the end of the quiz you receive a personalized workbook, a free personalized workbook for you to be able to go through the process of working through whatever your core needs are, or your core process of expansion, depending on what your archetype results are. So, depending on what your results are, is what your workbook is going to be. Now, you can only take the quiz one time. So, make sure you be honest and, sit with your results on what, you are answering and things of that nature. I think I have it to reset after a certain amount of time where you can take it again to check it. But as of right now, it's like, no, you can't just keep repeating it, right? And so, yes, enjoy that. I'll have the links and stuff down below to that uh, space for you to check out. So, another post that I recently shared was, it's a big reason why for many people, the use of continuously repeating positive affirmations, it doesn't seem to work for them. And a big reason for that, it lies in the fact that their subconscious still follows another belief. So although they're saying the words of affirmation and they're repeating it, they don't feel it, they don't believe it, because after they finish saying it, they go back into the reality that their subconscious is still connected to. And you have to learn how to change the reality that your subconscious is connected to, and how you view the reality in which you are in, how you view that as being a reality. All of that has to shift, it has to change, and it has to be transpired in some type of way in order for you to alchemize the energy, to get into the vibe of that affirmation and to believe it. You can't allow yourself to be shifted as soon as you hear, or you see something that totally goes against what it is that you are, shifting, or you've been completing your affirmations and things of that nature on. And that's why I'm really big into hypnotherapy and past life regressions, because we have to get to the core of the subconscious to truly change that belief and that feeling, so that outside of that you can no longer go back. You feel me? Baby, this coffee be so good. Okay, so life mirrors our subconscious. What we experience on the outside is a mirror of what our subconscious is going through. So if we're experiencing chaos, on the inside there's chaos. Okay, and it also means that in the spiritual aspect of things there is some type of chaos that's going on, and the answer is always in doing the opposite. Okay, so you don't lean deeper into the thing, you pull back, you do the opposite in order to find the balance of what needs to be found in the entire thing of what's happening. And so most times we've been taught to do the opposite of that. We've been taught to lean more into it, right? And so we create this rumination of insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And that is not the answer to be able to vibrate higher and expand higher. We have to pull back and we have to do the opposite of what we have been doing in order to change the cycle, in order to change the flow. So think of like a wheel spinning. If a wheel is spinning one way, in order for it to change and go the other way, it has to stop first, and then it starts processing the other way. Okay. And so the same thing happens within our brain and how we process and work through that. It's a spinning process. It stops and then it propels, starts propelling the other way. So when it comes to our subconscious reshifts, we have to allow ourselves that opportunity to identify, well, what is the actual uh what is this system that my subconscious is on? What is the process that it's on? What is the consistent pattern that it's on at this time? Because we can't really make a shift if we don't understand what we're truly shifting, right? So we could be saying, oh, I'm gonna be going to the right, and we don't understand that our subconscious is already spinning to the right. And so you have to sit and understand what's really going on, the thought process behind it, how it feels in relationship to that thing, to then be able to glitch it and find, like that cheat code to change it. But a lot of times we're, utilizing the insanity, notion of continuously doing the same thing, expecting to get a different result, a different outcome, without realizing, wait, I have to do something totally different. I can't approach this the same way that I've always approached it in the past. I can't approach dating the same way I've approached it in the past. I can't approach school the same way I approached it in the past. I can't approach identifying a new career the same way that I approached it in the past. I can't approach parenting the same way that I approached it in the past. I have to approach it in a manner where it's different. It changes the cycle, it changes the flow, because the other flow wasn't really the flow of what was needed for me and my energy. My flow has to go in another direction. And oftentimes we try to force something that is like an outdated feeling or like an outdated, vibration that we no longer resonate with. I have to go to my notes and make sure that I am not forgetting anything. I did keep notes, honey, okay? I don't want to put too much into one video because I know they say like the attention span. Do you all like the longer ones or whatever the case is? But I try not to put too much into like one video to allow you the opportunity to stop and process what is being talked about in this video before moving on to the next piece of the step. So today I really want us to pay attention to and focus on what is the patterns in your life, and that's your homework actually. I love to leave some homework, honey, okay? But what are the patterns in your life? And you can label it as patterns in dating, patterns in career, patterns in this. What is something that it's a pattern of how you approach it, how you deal with it, right? So I brought up the aspect, the pattern of dating, for example, I'm a serial monogamist. So I find someone, I get attached to them, and I only talk to them. And through that, like, I'll go to someone else, but then I would go to an ex if, like, I don't like to add in new people as much as possible. You get what I'm saying? And so, with that being a pattern of how I handled that and dealt with that, noticing how it affected me negatively in my dating habits, how it affected me negatively in understanding and learning how to date healthily, because I realized I was never taught how to date healthily. As a child, I had a mom, like, Mama kept a bae, okay? And then she married someone who was, in and out of prison. So, under, what I'm saying, the breaking up, coming back together, breaking up, coming back together. Then with my father, he was single, and a lot of that too, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little spoiled, my sister and I, and it was hard for him to date being a single father of two daughters, okay? Because eventually he had got full custody of both of us. And so in that, I witnessed how he was with his dating with women, and how he treated them, but he was very focused on like his work. You get what I'm saying? And like business and building his business from the ground up and all of that. And then I had my grandmother. I was around married couples. I saw my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunt, and my uncle. Like, so I just knew about one person at a time, if that makes sense, right? And now, although it may change, you may date someone else, whatever the case is, but realizing that cycle of how I learned to approach love and romance, maybe it's not the cycle of what is best for me. You get what I'm saying? I was raised up on the old school way of things, and or it wasn't even just the old school way of things. I got to see a variety of things, but I saw different versions of marriage. And one thing that I always saw was like men who they loved on their woman. You get what I'm saying? So it's like I would then approach a situation and I would find myself with men who are like emotionally unavailable, but they would still shower me, or they would still, like, in a way, a little love bombing in a way. It wouldn't be a lot of emotional consistency there. And that was a pattern of dating that I fell into. And that started with me being in the womb when my mom was pregnant with me, right? And understanding her relationship with my father, and over the years, and how that relationship shifted, and how that shifted into my subconscious connections to love, relationships, um, being down or understanding, or wanting to try something different or whatever the case is. And so it's one of those where we have to be able to sit with ourselves honestly, and we notice the pattern, and then we go back and look at how that pattern has transpired over time, and where it started at, where it developed at, because then we got to start looking at that relationship, because most times that is a core relationship. And when you think about the movie, for example, what was the movie with the emotions? Alexa, what's the Disney movie about emotions?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, the Disney/Pixar movie about emotions was Inside Out.
That,
By the way, you have a new notification.
baby, she just be
Do
talking
you
so
want
much.
to hear it?
No, thank you. So, Inside Out. So, like how on Inside Out, they had core memories, right? We have those same things. We have core memories inside of ourselves and within our subconscious that we remembered over time. And because of that, we have to understand what they are and how those core memories are now playing out in the reality of our current circumstances, and understand that our realities can change. It can change. This year you could be living in one place, next year you could be living in a whole nother city, a whole nother state, a whole nother country. You know, tomorrow somebody could call you up with some random good news. Next month you can hit the lottery and all of a sudden, like, so many random things can happen. Random things happen every day that we call into our life when cycles are interrupted. You get what I'm saying? And that comes when we're on the frequency of those surprises. But when we're continuously following the known and what we are familiar with, we rid ourselves of that potential, you know? And so I am interested in hearing from you all down below. If you already know your subconscious healing archetype from the quiz, let us know down below in the comments. Or if there's a pattern that you have come to notice or understand. I can also bring up the pattern of careers and working for me, right? I always kind of like in a way felt like, okay, I would have to just get another degree, another degree for, oh, okay, now this career, this career, this career, only to find that what I'm coming to teach and connect to, I was connecting within this before I started that process. Now, those processes helped me, yes, but there's more than one way to get to the answer a lot of times. There's more than one way to find an answer that equals 4. 2 plus 2, 3 plus 1, 4 plus 0. Okay? There's different ways to get to an answer most times. Now, some equations you have to follow it exactly in the equations, right? So when we find the slopes and things of that nature, of course you have to follow the exact equation for that, but there are still other things that you can move some stuff around. You get what I'm saying? And so this is giving an energy of you're being called to, look at what you need to move around so that you can have some different outcomes, have some different outputs, because you're changing the code. Think of like technology and things of that nature. You're changing your code. You're changing your own personal coding inside of you, your own personal video game. And once you become your own coder of your own life, of your own video game, everything else just starts to like magnify. You get what I'm saying? And so that is the vibe and the energy. I do thank you all for tapping in with me here on the channel. I will see you all in the next video. Definitely let me know down below in the comments of topics related to this that you would like to see me dive into, and I will be meditating on them as I feel called. And so I will not say when the next time will be when I will be back, but I will say that as the alignment is there, you will see me. I will be in your space. And so go on and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all out here into the ethers. I love you all. Keep tapping in, and I am checking out.